Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a sixth sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chain. Can't control me. I got the power.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Fulky here. I just want to give a shout out to Boogie Bentley, Dauber, and the Indie Kid over at the Talkin VAWLS network on YouTube. Keep doing your thing, guys. Go Vols.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS network. My name is the Indie Kid.
I'm Dauber. What's happening, man?
What's up, man?
Just hanging out.
Hanging out, watching a little basketball. Just seeing how things go. Tennessee with, for lack of a better term, basically a glorified scrimmage. 96-52 tonight. 15 players, it felt like half of Knoxville got on the court tonight. All 15 guys scored. 13-0 run that starts the game. Tennessee never looked back. Just 2 games in a row, total domination at home. Interesting, going back to last week with Texas Tech. We talked about one thing, and I didn't even realize it at the end of the Texas Tech game, but now they've stressed it against Greensboro, and they stressed it again tonight with USC Upstate. Tennessee leads the nation in defense. I honestly probably should have known it. I was not aware of that prior to that game. The defense continues, offense hitting. Opening thoughts, what do you think?
Well, these last 2 games are good coming off the way they played against Texas Tech. Good to kind of get things rolling. Seeing shots fall. Playing good defense. Impressed with rebounding tonight. Guys were going after loose balls. It's good that these 2 games fell where they did. Getting ready for what's coming up. Because this is the uphill part of the schedule, so not going to be any cheapies left. So
no, and it's one we've talked about for a bit coming up this weekend. I was trying to pull the schedule up here real quick. Saturday at noon, ESPN2, Tennessee versus Memphis in Nashville, and very gettable game. Like you said, though, man, it's about to get real right here. Texas Tech was the last, that was a good test. They didn't succeed on that one. Not the end of the world with it. Disappointing game, but then they bounced back with Greensboro. And then tonight again with USC Upstate, they took care of business on it. But now it's on to it. Memphis, and I know Memphis has dropped 4 in a row, but you better believe this is a rivalry game. It's going to be intense.
They very well could roll into Nashville having dropped 5 in a row. So even if that wasn't the case, you're going to get your best shot out of Memphis just with all the rivalry and intensity that game usually carries. Even though it's not necessarily been played year in and year out. There's been time off, and it's just there's a lot of dislike, I guess, between the fan bases, and it kind of carries over. Since they've renewed this rivalry, it's been kind of picked up by, at least the coach on the other end. I think Barnes has kind of played it classy and not really dug into it like Penny has, but that's one you want to win because Memphis is typically a decent basketball school, and has some history. So in-state school, you want to beat them. Helps recruiting. Um, it's going to be a big primetime type game. National stage.
Yeah, and I think even if they come in with 5 in a row dropped, I think they'll come in ready. Like I said, there's a lot of hatred there, especially since old Punky Hardaway come back in here. We'll see. I mean, he was a lot. I will give him credit. He was a little more classy last year. Of course, you tend to be a little more classy when you win the game. Yeah. And a lot of times, best emotions don't come out when getting beat or getting manhandled like they did a couple of years ago. It's going to be intense. It's in Nashville. I like when they play it there. I think it's going to be a good atmosphere. The good thing last year, COVID still had restricted crowds. I expect Bridgestone's going to be full on Saturday. But, what I've liked the good thing about when Tennessee plays these games like tonight and like Saturday is that, you get to see some guys who you normally may not have seen as much. And a couple guys, and we talked about one last week who really needs to be a big part moving forward is Huntley Hatfield. He's had 2 back-to-back nice games. Looks like he's making progress. And I've been impressed with Quentin Jabunjay. I think this guy's got some potential. And I like his athleticism. He can shoot. I think he adds a lot. His size, his length. He seems to be getting in a little earlier. And, Terry Reed mentions Meshack as well. I agree. I like him as well. But those guys, I think they've done a good job identifying Jabunjay. He was kind of a later signing, a later pickup. It kind of, to me, seemed like out of nowhere, but they've done a really good job identifying him. And again, I know Barnes was specific in when he talked about Huntley Hatfield after the Greensboro game about how he's kind of answered the call a little bit as well. So, I like that. And before I let you respond here, just hit this. John Hill, thank you very much. $10. Man, what a complete game. Assists like crazy. Keep it up for the Memphis game. That's a good point. And then I'll swing it to you, Dauber. But, yeah, I noticed that as well when I was looking at it and didn't realize it. But 29 assists tonight. I think it's got to be the season high. Kennedy Chandler, double-double in that department, 15 and 10. And then you had guys just kind of spread. Ziegler had 5 assists, and then you had guys with 3 and 4 assists along the way. A good, even, spread out performance there. But, kind of back to those guys stepping up and stuff. What do you think about all that?
It was really kind of a complete effort. They shot the ball well, from 3, which that's good to see. Defense, I think, is the that's going to be what drives the offense and gets it going. You look, they had 15 steals and 5 blocks. I think there towards the end of the game, I heard him say it was close to 30 points off of turnovers. I think it was like 28 or 29 points off turnovers. So another thing, just kind of as we get rolling here, it's good to see Kamwa get involved, get rolling, have another big game. You hope that continues because he's had 1 or 2 big games and then just kind of disappeared. He'll come out and play strong for a couple minutes and then just kind of falls off the map.
Very erratic.
Yeah. You're going to have some contributions from Kamwa, Fulkerson, your guys that are playing down low, because that's been something that's been exposed and exploited and if we're not hitting the outside shots, you got to be able to work that. So good to see him get rolling. Hope that continues, and hope he doesn't go missing.
And that's the thing. It kind of seems like the games he's shown up has been these games kind of like this. He had a decent game against North Carolina. It was probably his best against the more upper echelon competition. We'll see if he shows up against Memphis on Saturday, or is that a case of it seems like in these games they've had to go against that's when they turn to Chandler, Ziegler, Vescovy, Josiah, Jordan James when he's been healthy, and Fulkerson. They kind of run with that lineup. So does Kamwa provide that presence? And guys in the chat, and we totally agree. I think I can speak for both of us about the inside game. And I'm not one, just me theoretically speaking, if I was running, I'm not afraid to go small and go fast. But I think there's got to be – that was something I didn't like against Texas Tech, was I felt that they tried that, but I felt there was no – I don't know. I mean, you look back to that game, they got a lot of good looks and just could not hit that night. And I know in the comments after, I think it was Terry Reed made mention about how Texas Tech, Tennessee, and then the following game that night, Villanova and Syracuse. None of those four teams shot well at all that night. I don't know if it was something with the Garden, if it's just one of those nights, but it was kind of strange how none of those teams.
I read a few comments, and I can't remember where they were, but and it may not have even been a Tennessee player that said it, but the sight lines in Madison Square Garden are a little bit funny. And maybe it was just the way the court was laid out for that tournament or what. But yeah, it was a little bit odd to see both of the games really have such poor shooting performances. Nonetheless, if the outside shots aren't falling, you got to figure out something else. And I think we addressed that plenty. We both said that we'd lay some criticism on Barnes and the rest of the coaching staff for not, managing the game a little bit better, calling a timeout, running some set plays, something to try to jumpstart the offense. But
yeah, just there was no, like you said, we talked about it. It just felt like there was no imagination. There was just no creativity. It was just gun it and hope for the best. And, it come down to even times where it felt like they had a chance to make a move, drive in. There was just they were just settling the whole time for it. And I think that's where I think you got to be multidimensional. I think you got to be, it's kind of got to be like sometimes you see certain teams in football who can go multi with different sets. I think you got to be that as well if the jumper's not falling or if the three's not falling. Like we said, when you're up to about 1 or 2 out of 20, I think that's a pretty good indication that maybe you need to have another plan in there. And again, it's easy for me to say while I'm sitting here and I'm not on the bench calling it. I'm not running practice, but I would think going in, number one, these guys are doing film study. They're breaking down, for example, at Texas Tech. You've got to have an ideal game plan, a plan of attack going in. But if that doesn't work, where do you go from there? And I think you got to go in with at least 2 to 3 plans of attack on that. Yeah. You've got your bait, you've got your normal offense, but funny enough, they've come out since Texas Tech and the three's been falling. They've been shooting well. One of those nights, you chalk it up. It's like I said last week on it. It's kind of like in Ted Lasso's season 2, when they got whipped by Man City in the FA Cup. Put on the Benny Hill music, put it on fast forward, and don't watch it again. That's kind of the way I feel on that one. But I do like how they've responded. And again, we talked last week. I don't think, we were disappointed with effort. Effort was there. And I know on this channel we've said we hate to mention effort, but man, you see that Villanova game earlier in the year where that's why we have to mention efforts, because you have nights like that. But effort was there against Texas Tech. And again, I don't know, maybe I've lost it in the shuffle, but boy, is it defensive efficiency?
Yeah.
That they're one in.
Yeah. And that's, we've talked about it all along. That's a calling card for Barnes, and that's what earns you minutes on the floor. You look at Victor Bailey. Excuse me. His shot's struggling. He's struggling on offensive end, but he's also fighting for minutes because he seems to be one. And he was one that we actually kind of called out in the Villanova game. Frustrated his shots weren't falling, and he kind of gave up a couple of times really bad on the defensive end. Had a bad turnover and then just made no effort to try to get the ball back from the guy who went down for an easy layup. So, I like having these young guys pushing guys for playing time because that keeps everybody fired up. And, man, you hope towards the end of the season you're playing your peak basketball.
I mean, if you remember with Bailey last year, and yeah, you're right. That I remember specifically that one turnover where I think it was a backcourt violation.
Yeah.
And he just kind of stopped, and the Villanova guy just ran by him. And I can't remember if he got a layup or a foul out of it, but it was a bad look. But yeah, I mean, you remember with Bailey last year how he was the same way, very streaky. One night he went for 29 points, and the next night he may go for 2 points. I mean, just he's a streaky guy, and I think he's a guy who he needs the ball in his hand. He's not met a shot he doesn't like, but guys like that need to shoot though. Yeah. They're going to get hot that way. And then I was just looking 3 out of 8 tonight, 6 points. 0 for 3 from 3-point range. Not a bad night. I mean, he got to 6 points, but, not great either. Justin Powell, he got a 3 to drop. Man, his minutes have just gone down right now. And I know he's had some rough outings along the way. Again, I wish that ESPN, I think they update the minutes later on. Looks like a kind of, you saw Ziegler some. You saw, of course, Chandler had a good game. Josiah Jordan, just guys weren't having to do as much, but you had Kamwa. We'll see how that plays with him. 9 out of 10 tonight, 2 out of 2 from 3-point range, 21 and 8. So really good game with him. Huntley Hatfield 6 and 8, Fulkerson 12 and 6. Yeah, good production all the way around. Guys were driving, guys were hitting. I felt like there was more flow, more creativity tonight. So, we'll see how Memphis. Memphis has got a big. I'm seeing them, and I have evidently not watched the Memphis game and seen this crazy looking court that they've got here. Thank goodness they don't have to play on that Saturday. But Memphis is obviously going to be a different. They've got the athletes. It's Memphis. They recruit well. So how's Tennessee going to match up with that? How can they, if the three's not falling, can they adapt? And, is that a case of they try to match up with Memphis's inside game? Or is this a case where you try to spread them out like we've said before, but then out-quick them, out-penetrate them in that way?
Yeah, and that's been the question really in the games that they've played poor. You've not seen the changes made. You've not seen the adjustment and the different style of play. This team has such potential because you look at even when the starters were out, you look at the lineup that was on the floor. That's still even going really deep into the bench before you get to, the guys that get sparing minutes and the walk-ons, that's still some pretty talented guys out there. So it's something that, you know, one of the games that you like having before you start the meat of the schedule. You know, it's a good tune-up game.
Good
So,
placement. Yeah. Is the Jancic this? I don't know if is the Jancic guy who's the walk-on, Brock Jancic, is that not the same guy who was lit it up in the spring game in football? Or am I thinking of two different guys at receiver? Is this two different Jancic? It seemed like there's about 50 Jancics that's been there. And I am not sure if that is the same guy who had, everybody's like, well, this dude needs to play at receiver.
I don't know. At one point, was Coach Jancic's son not a walk-on? Maybe he was on the football team, though.
Jack. Okay. Thank you, Vol guy. I was thinking I was probably wrong on that, but I, for some reason, was thinking Brock. So I just wonder if Brock is kin to, I'm almost thinking that's Coach Jancic's sons that play. If not, that's very coincidental.
It's not a that common of a name. I mean, it's not like Smith or Jones.
No, that's all right. Okay, thank you guys for clearing that up, because I thought I was probably wrong, but I wasn't sure on that. But looks like we have got 71 people in the chat. Let's check those numbers on the thumbs up right now. We are at, and we are loading slowly. We are at 36 thumbs up. So we got double the people. So if you guys don't mind, I don't even know what I need to say it, actually. There you go. Smash it. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Draw those viewers. If you have not subscribed, if you're checking us out for the first time or anything, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Lots of stuff going down tomorrow. Early signing day tomorrow. I've already been notified that there is an arsenal of stuff waiting for tomorrow, and then we'll be going live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We're going to have lots to talk about. We may go all night long. We may make it like Lionel Richie and go all night long.
Hey, it's exciting. Night. Exciting times.
Hopefully, hopefully good finish tomorrow. And but we'll see how it is. But yeah, if you guys will smash that like button.
Hey, share out the link. Let's get up to 100 on the live stream right now.
Yeah, we're at 68 right now. So if we can get up 32 more, it'd be pretty cool. Make sure you share. Saturday, we will be live right after Memphis. Hopefully we're coming on. Hopefully it's not one of them where it's like, the intensity of coming live after it's over. Hopefully excitement. I still expect Memphis is struggling. I still expect, and if Tennessee goes down to Nashville and wins by 1 point, I will be happy with that. It's going to be intense. Memphis is just one of those teams that has talent. And it being that in-state rivalry, like you said, it's not always been annually, because you had, it was pretty intense with Pearl and Calipari. I think it was more mutual respect between those two guys. I don't think there was a lot of, but like you said, the fan bases, there is absolutely no love lost between Memphis and Tennessee's fan bases. And then when Pastner was there, I don't know much there. He was more, didn't seem like necessarily a jerk. But then once old Penny come in, it's back on it. So that Kennedy Chandler's probably going to be fired up. they'll be fired up wanting to beat Kennedy Chandler, him a Memphis guy, and spurn them. Like I said, man, it's big for recruiting in this state. And I don't know so much next year. Of course, yesterday, big topic kind of with Tennessee basketball. I made a video on it last night. I had to, on LeBron's son, Bronny James, being interested. I don't know if anything comes of it or not. But, in looking at that and looking, Tennessee had some good talent this year in state. They had some last year as well. Seems like it's going to be a bit, and I haven't fully researched it what I need to. It seems like it's going to be a bit, not what it was this year next, top end wise. I expect there'll be some good prospects though, but you can put a stamp down Saturday and make a real good case in this state.
Yeah. And just talking about LeBron's son and the story coming out with him having interest in Tennessee, it shows you what Rick Barnes has done for the Tennessee basketball program. You look at bringing in Springer and Keon Johnson and Kennedy Chandler. These are elite level players who, you would have been hard pressed to get that sort of talent to Tennessee 15 years ago. It just wasn't. You had a guy here or there, but this is, sustained recruitment of pretty high caliber, high IQ basketball guys. So it's becoming a bit of a destination for basketball, and it's really good to see. And I think we talked about it previously. You kind of want him to finally turn the corner and have some of that postseason success, because otherwise you always get that, yeah, well, what's he done with that talent? Can't win.
And here's the fact of the matter with Rick Barnes, and I think we've questioned Rick Barnes on here, but he's going to ride his contract out until he retires. Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere, nor should he go anywhere. And, before we go off, and like you said, there's always that, well, yeah, but he doesn't. Rick Barnes has earned the right at Tennessee to go out on his own terms. As long as he's still making the tournament, yeah, we want to get higher, but he's bringing in elite talent, going to the tournament, developing that talent. He's going to go out on his own terms. And, maybe it's a case he leaves that program built for somebody else to come in and take it to another level. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Tennessee has never been to the Final Four in men's basketball. They've only been to one Elite Eight. It'd be cool if Barnes can get them to another one. But, I mean, there's a point in time, though, you think of LeBron James. That's a big deal. And I know the comments. I know what I think it's kind of crazy. People are saying, well, I don't like LeBron and his politics. I get it. Okay, I get it. I understand it. And we don't want his son because of it. It's a different thing. And I can say this too. I'm a Lakers fan. I've been since the Showtime days. I still am. I can't say I'm a LeBron fan, though. I wish Kawhi Leonard would have came to LeBron, but there's no denying LeBron is one of the greatest. He's not the greatest of all time. He is one of the greatest. He's top 5, I would say. He's not 1, he's not 2. I think there's definitely 2 guys ahead of him, if not more. But that's going to be a big deal if somehow Tennessee gets Bronny James. And I don't necessarily think he's a one-and-done guy based on – now, maybe he skyrockets up right now, 24/7, has him ranked 38th overall. That's a good player for you. But, odds are that may be a multi-year guy too, and that's okay. But Sierra Canyon, And like Wayne said earlier, Bronny's he's not even the best player on the team right now. That tells you, that's a hot school. A lot of these, or I say a lot, some of these former NBA guys, you had Scottie Pippen Jr. came from there. I'm pretty sure there's a Justin Pippen. It has to be Scottie Pippen's younger son on there. I know Dwayne Wade's, I think, had kids on there. But, man, if you get in, that is a big-time school for basketball. You get in with Bronny, with LeBron, you somehow, because I don't know that UCLA has a firm hold on that school. Maybe so,
right.
But, you get that could even, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but if you get over to the women's side, I saw where Zach Randolph has a daughter there. I'm thinking, and maybe that Kobe still has maybe some of Kobe's kids. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's another connection there that I misread on it. There's a lot of talent, a lot of bloodline that comes through. If you somehow got him in, Tennessee is going to be at the forefront of ESPN for college basketball and major. That would be a huge deal. And again, I don't agree with everything LeBron says and does either, but you cannot deny how big that would be for Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Vol Guy 23. I can't find it in the comments. Is way up there, but he made a comment about Barnes and NIL stuff, and I think that's moving forward in recruiting and all of that. The NIL stuff we're seeing it change the landscape of college football. No doubt it's going to do the same thing for basketball. And, we've talked about Barnes being an old school guy philosophically and with his game plan and, his kind of hesitation to go away from the traditional big, too big down low lineup. But that's something he's come out and said. Not necessarily that he's against it, but the guys need to be guarded and watch what they do and make sure it doesn't take away from, their focus. But the reality of it is NIL is huge in recruiting. So that's going to be an area that Barnes is going to have to embrace and it's going to have to be done right for that type of talent to continue to come here. When, you look at the traditional powerhouse schools, not to derail and talk about football, but Alabama's quarterback was making six figures before he took a snap this year based on NIL stuff. So, you talk about a top 10 talent basketball guy, getting them into your program, you're going to have big NIL stuff. So it's just reality.
I feel that, and I feel Barnes, I think Vol Guy kind of mentioned here, and I kind of got his comment because he said, I don't think NIL will be that big of a deal with Bronny. You wouldn't think so. Right. But, I mean, still yet, though, you've got to be able to sell it, and I really feel that Barnes in Tennessee, and I think even football to an extent too, struggled adapting to that because Tennessee's basketball valuations were top notch this year. Guys they brought in starting in June, and there were numerous guys who showed up on their recruiting list. It's like, well, this guy's ranked here and there. And then all of a sudden they did the reclassification of the rankings. And these dudes are all of a sudden like Dylan Mitchell ended up committing to Texas. And I guess he signed with Texas. He was borderline 150 top, and then he shoots up to a 5-star. Guy committed to Kansas Center, UDEH, another one. Lower when you first saw him, and then all of a sudden he shoots up. Their talent evaluations were on point this year. Bad thing is they only had one signing, which a good one, with B.J. Edwards coming in. Excited about him coming in. But, something was off. And I really think it came down to NIL. I don't necessarily think they got out recruited on anything else other than, and maybe I'm wrong on that. So I'm curious to see how he adapts to that. And it's new for everyone. I get it, but I feel like Tennessee has struggled to adapt, but they've started naming more of these partnerships. I think they're getting up to speed on it. They don't have the Auburn bag man, unfortunately. Maybe they can throw an NIL deal to Auburn bag man and get him in the fold. That'll help both programs, because everybody else is getting potential death penalties and all this. Auburn gets in trouble, and Bruce Pearl gets a freaking 2-game suspension out of it. And but he gets a show calls at Tennessee
for having a cookout.
For having a cookout and lying about it. But yet he goes to Auburn and gets a 2-game slap on the wrist. Unbelievable.
Well, and then let's not even talk about what's going on at LSU.
Oh, yeah. I mean, LSU,
how can he still be coaching?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's 2 guys in the SEC West that, they're just, nope. They're just, I don't get it. Whatever. Is what it is, I guess. But, I think it's going to be interesting with Tennessee's recruiting this year in that, and I think somebody made a comment here. Yep, I agree on this. You're going to have Fulkerson. You're going to have Kennedy Chandler. You may not have anybody else to leave, because I'm pretty sure everybody else is eligible to come back. And if I'm wrong on that, somebody can correct me on it. I don't see Huntley Hatfield as a one and done. If he continues to develop, I could see it into next year. But if you bring in B.J. Edwards, I think they'll probably use that spring signing period to add to it as well. Because I know there was a guy who was committed to, if I'm not mistaken, Pitt. It was either Pitt or Providence, who ended up not signing and maybe even decommitted. I'd have to go back and research who it is. But he is a combo guard. They're involved with him. He was a 4-star guy, so that may be somebody they revisit. And, you got to factor portal in as well. There's going to be guys to get through the portal also. So maybe that's your fix going into next year, but I really feel that you won't see near the turnover that they had last year. So what that's going to lead to the following year is I think you're going to have more scholarships. So, I got to think if somehow, some way you did get a Bronny James, and I don't know how possible it is, but I would think guys would follow.
Yeah.
And they're in the AAU circuits, with just LeBron, who else's son out there. Guys are going to see Tennessee then. Some people mention it as a destination. If LeBron James' son is coming to Knoxville to play for Tennessee, you're going to know we're going to be in the high-profile games. We're going to be on ESPN every chance that they turn around.
Lots of coverage, yeah.
Yeah. It may be a media circus, but you know what? It is what it is. It'd be Judah Mintz. Thank you. That is the one. Thank you. Thank you. I knew it was something with an M. I guess I'm just getting too old to remember this stuff. But yep, that's the guy.
I tell you, I think all of that goes hand in hand with what Danny White is trying to do in building the brand of Tennessee across all sports. Getting that national recognition, elevated recruiting gets you, hopefully wins, which gets you better primetime spots, national spotlight, all that type of stuff. So it's exciting. You hope that, like I said, when I kickstarted all this off, you hope Barnes kind of turns the corner and can win some of those big games that historically he's not, and make a deep run into the tournament.
Yeah, that's right. And only 57 thumbs up. We got 83 viewers. Smash it, guys. Smash that thumbs up. This is a perfect point. You talk about Danny White. It's the first real athletic director Tennessee has had probably since Doug Dickey, and definitely the most well-rounded. Dickey, I mean, obviously football was rolling in, baseball was hitting, or Delmonico, it was a decent program. Basketball was hit and miss. He hit on some guys. He missed on some guys as well. That was something, we talked about when Danny White come in, looking at Central Florida's program. Like you said, man, it is a full athletic program, full athletic department there. All sports are thriving. It's happening in Knoxville now. I mean, they just won, a rugby national championship. And I know that's not, a real –
that's a club
polarizing sport. Yeah, it's a club sport. And hopefully they're going to get some of those rugby jerseys on Vol Shop. Have you seen those things?
They're pretty sweet looking.
They're sweet, man. The orange and white, and then they had a black and orange one that looked pretty sweet too.
You had women's soccer making a run into their postseason. You've got a lot of things rolling right now. So, Danny White, you look at his pedigree within his family, brother coaches at Florida, dad was AD at Duke, sister is involved in college athletics somewhere.
Down in, was it SMU?
Or Stetson or something. But just a family that has been involved in college athletics, so he gets it. We've had guys that come and they understand the athletic part of it, or they understand the business part of it. But I think Danny White is well-rounded and kind of gets it, like what he's done with baseball and Vitello, and, securing him and making sure that the team is provided with the facilities, that all that is kept up, because that helps recruiting. You look at, I know Pratt Pavilion and all that predates White, but, amazing facility. Tennessee across the board, most of their facilities top notch. You saw there's a video on YouTube that goes through the basketball locker room and all of that. It's super amazing. And it's, you look at Barnes and his connections to guys like Kevin Durant, and I know I saw some of the guys that they got some KD shoes that were, custom or, one-offs, I think specifically for Tennessee, because of that connection with Barnes and Durant. So there's a lot of cool things, and all of that does help build and shape the brand.
Absolutely. Let's see. I missed a super chat here earlier from Cody Branch. Cody, I apologize if you're still listening on here. I got caught up in something. I know it's for $5. You say didn't watch the game, but looking forward to the Memphis. Here we go. Thanks again, Cody. I am sorry that I missed that. Can't wait till Memphis game. Didn't watch tonight, but I will be tuned in for that game. Thank you for the super chat, Cody. And then we got Eric Ash Jones for $2. Old Danny White came in here and hired Heupel. Man, and that was met with a lot. I don't even know. It was a split fan base on that one. That, Danny White just hired his guy in Heupel. Of course, we've discussed that one a lot on here. But, if you come to a program like Tennessee, and if you're just coming in to hire your buddies, which has happened,
you're not going to succeed. You're
not going to make it long. And, everything's going the right direction. And Boogie's posed his question before. I think it came. I don't remember. But anyhow, it was a couple weeks that we talked about, is this the best collection of coaches Tennessee's had? All at once, when you consider Heupel, Barnes, Vitello, I don't know that they've had a better – I mean, here's the thing. Women's basketball's getting rolling again with Harper. Softball, of course, is strong. It's going to be strong with the weeklies there. I know it's just down to Karen. Now Ralph hung it up. You got to think he's still going to be involved. All the programs are just it's rolling. Things are on the up and up. And I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I went to a Big Orange alumni meeting. I'm not an alum, my wife is, but fortunately with that, I was able to go and see people from Knoxville came down. There is a lot of good stuff. They're upgrading that campus. Some of the buildings have been out of date. They're updating that. There's a lot of stuff going on. Some of you guys that live around there are probably aware of that and see some of it's going on, or some of that construction that's gone on. So the programs, the campus, a lot of things are really looking up down there. And, some of it was in place prior to Danny White coming in, but he's coming in making a lot of good decisions. I mean, there's with his sports, with hires, with people he's bringing in, Neyland Stadium, it needs upgraded. I haven't been there in a bit, but it's like the guy in the meeting we went to said, they're competing with this thing called HD TV now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier to sit home and watch it, especially when the price of tickets are sky high. Facilities are not. Baseball stadium is going to get a big upgrade. I think this year they're going to have more temporary bleachers again, but I feel pretty confident in saying within the next few years. And Tony Vitello said it, Danny White said it. It takes, it's not as easy as just putting the money in and building stuff. You got to get the right permits. It's got to go through the state. It's got to get the right approvals. And they're on that, waiting for that now. But I know last year they said that they come up and they had toured South Carolina's facilities. And I was fortunate enough, I went up to 2 of the baseball games last year and they played South Carolina. That stadium is awesome. It is a top-notch stadium. So if they're trying to model Lindsey Nelson after the stadium up here at South Carolina, it'll be more modern, newer. It's going to be something special. Thompson Bowling's already been renovated. I'm not sure what else they can do. Or like you said, the locker rooms and stuff, they're top-notch. Things are looking good for the Tennessee Vols program here. And Wayne Starnes, $20. Thank you. Let's go Vols. Hopefully have a great class tomorrow. Excited about Heupel's first class and hopefully pull in a couple of surprises. Absolutely. And if you want the coverage on that, be tuned in tomorrow, guys. If you're not already subscribed, again, to say it again, we're up to 91 right now. So if you haven't already, if you'll smash that like button. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe. There's going to be a lot of content going tomorrow. I'm not going to spoil anything that's in the works or potentially there, but I know that there is going to be, Boogie is going to have content ready to rock and roll for tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll have our weekly live show tomorrow night at 7. Hopefully it's going to be an exciting day. Hopefully a good finish for Tennessee tomorrow and just kind of continue the positive momentum that's going on with the program, and hopefully into the weekend when they play Memphis as well.
Yeah, that's you kind of wind back to basketball specifically. Not a whole lot to talk about tonight's game, but looking forward. You talked about Saturday, the game at Memphis, and then I guess Tuesday versus
Arizona,
number 8 Arizona. Follow that up by
Alabama.
A couple days after Christmas, number 6 Alabama, and then you got Ole Miss ranked LSU, South Carolina, ranked Kentucky. So
It's getting real.
It is gonna be some tough sledding, and it starts Saturday. So positives coming out of tonight. Things are kind of back rolling. You got guys seeing the ball go in the hoop, apart from Victor Bailey, who is still kind of on the skids. Good to see him get some points, even though a couple were layups and dunks. But you're going to have everybody contributing. If you're in the game, getting minutes, you need to be contributing.
Yeah, I mean, 15 guys scored tonight. That's pretty good. I mean, we're not going to see 15 guys on a normal occasion, but I'm curious to see when this gauntlet starts. And that's basically what's getting ready to happen here. Last year when they started getting into, the tougher part of it, I think we really thought it was going to be a deep team, and then they're down to playing 6-7 guys, basically,
right,
who could actually contribute. Will that be the case this year, or can they get that depth? I mean, there's guys who I think you know what you're going to get. Chandler's going to do his thing. Vescovi's going to do his thing. Josiah Jordan-James, he may not always get the points, but he's going to contribute something. I feel good enough to say Fulkerson, maybe not 2 years ago Fulkerson, but he'll do his thing. I'm curious besides that. I think we've seen enough of Ziegler to know I feel confident saying he's going to contribute, but who else is going to step up?
Yeah.
Kamwa, I mean, we've seen it against the ETSUs, the USC Upstates. They need him against the Memphis, Arizonas, the Alabamas. They need him to have a little bit more of these performances then.
And
Hatfield does
the other guy's Huntley Hatfield. You got to see him continue to grow and improve, and I think get his big frame into the speed of the game in college, because that'll be huge. There's a couple other guys that are on the fringe that it seems like they have all the talent in the world, and they've got the potential to kind of bust open and compete for kind of one of those last one or two spots, competing for minutes.
Yeah, and that's that's kind of your main guys, because I feel confident in saying that I think they can adapt, but I don't know. We talked about worst case spreading it out, but I'm just afraid that, against Texas Tech was a little bit of a sign of what that offense will be if or when they spread it out. I think it's just going to be kind of firing threes, not even so much running and gunning, which I like a fast-paced tempo where you can do that. I didn't even feel it was that fast-paced. Of course, sometimes defense dictates that, but you've got Fulkerson. I feel confident he's going to contribute okay. Then that's, like we said there, those two, Kamwa and Huntley Hatfield. Those two guys are your two. And I really feel I agree with this right here, Hatfield. I feel Hatfield has the potential to be more of the difference maker than Kamwa. And I like what Kamwa brings. He can step out. He just got to get more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the thing we got to remember with Huntley Hatfield, he's 17, supposed to be in high school, but the talent's still there. Even with him reclassifying, he come in as a top 20 guy. So how fast can they get him up to speed and get him developed so he can –
doesn't look like a 17-year-old.
No, he definitely doesn't. So, I mean, somebody asked earlier, what do they think about Jonas Adu, what he may do? I don't know. It's a long season. I mean, he's not playing much right now. Of course, he had mono. That slowed him up. Hopefully, he takes it as a year. He understands that maybe he's a little slower to get up to speed. Maybe his role increases as the year goes along as well. I don't know. I could see him possibly as a redshirt candidate as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hopefully it's the case he takes his year to develop, and then he's ready to step in next year when Fulkerson's definitely gone next year. He's been there for 15 years now. This will be his 15th and final season in Knoxville. I think he come in when Powell's open. So he, no, in all seriousness, so Fulkerson gone. So somebody's going to have to step in that middle. And so we'll see. I feel good about, you know, Adu developing. I know they spoke highly of him coming in when he was committed to Marquette, and then changed after Wojciechowski was fired. So I think he'll contribute next year. I don't see it this year, though. I just don't. I think the inside game is going to lie on Fulkerson, Kamwa, Huntley, Hatfield. Of course, Euros is going to get his minutes to spell somebody. And man, I'll give him credit. He has improved. You know, we laugh at him at times and stuff about being kind of flat-footed. The guy has gotten better, though. I mean, he's better than he was last year. I'll say that. I mean, he had 7 points tonight. So
yeah, he has.
I mean, that's a, you know, hats off to the guy. You know, he's in there busting. He's in there giving his effort.
I want to see him dunk over somebody. I want to see the big 7-footer use his big 7-foot frame.
Hit him about the foul line and let him just go down, and somebody jump under him and him dunk on it, and then they'd probably get called for a charge, or he would then. But let's see, guys, 81 people like him. You know, again, if you haven't, hit that thumbs up. But we'll wrap this thing up here in a minute because we'll be back with you again tomorrow night. But before we do that, it is the holiday season. What better thing to do? Let me see if I can get it pulled up here. Then Talkin VAWLS merchandise. Bonfire.com/Talkin VAWLS. We have got the latest. If you're an old NBA Jam fan, I know many of you guys in here probably at the arcade, at the Gold Mine, or Tilt, or at the grocery store, probably fired up some NBA Jam along the way. Well, we got TVA Jam, Talkin VAWLS edition. Got T-shirts, different colors, premium unisex tank tops. So if you're going to the gym wanting to flex those muscles or those lack thereof and just want to look cool, there's your tank top, and then long sleeve T-shirts as well. Retro Talkin VAWLS merchandise. You got unisex T-shirts, hoodies, football jersey tee as well. There's your Talkin VAWLS state logo merchandise. There's that Talkin VAWLS flat bill hat. You know, maybe one night, who knows? Maybe we get this basketball brand going real good one night. We hit 200 people on a basketball one. I'll even take out my profit and give away a flat bill hat. We got to hit 200 one night though for that. So we're gonna put the expectations high on it. Toboggans here for you. Diamond VAWLS stuff. Again, baseball right around the corner. Lots of stuff there. Vol hoops. That's what we're on here. So lots of stuff for you. There's the old school Talkin VAWLS merchandise. There's a coffee mug, water bottles. Got a little bit of everything in here, guys. So
handful of things.
Handful of things, yeah. So if you're looking for something to buy for Christmas, something you want in that stocking, there you go. Talkin VAWLS merchandise is the way to go. Final thoughts, Dauber, before we wrap this thing up.
Like I said, good tune-up game. Good to see shots falling. Good to see some guys that typically don't log minutes getting into the game. Really awesome to see 15 guys play, 15 guys score. That's pretty unique, and you know, that's a rarity. Getting ready for Saturday. Good to see the team take kind of the mistakes and the poor effort and performance against Texas Tech and bounce back these last two games and let's take it to Memphis High on Saturday.
Memphis High, Tiger High, Nashville on Saturday. That is, I guess that's technically going to be local time there, an 11 o'clock game. So that's it's a little early for basketball. So I guess I'm sure it's Nashville. I'm sure the strip there will be hopping. Plenty of stuff coming up tomorrow, guys. Football national early signing day tomorrow. A few announcements to look out for Tennessee. We'll see how things go. Things not gone. I don't know. They've done okay this week, picking up some guys. We'll see where it finishes tomorrow. Of course, there's still a regular signing day coming up in February as well. But, before we wrap it up as well, guys, make sure you hit like, subscribe. In the post-game comments, guys, if there's any topics with basketball, Boogie, we'll cover football. That's getting covered well. Any specific topic you're interested in wanting more research or more covered on in terms of basketball, let us know in the comments, and we'll see what we can do to get that. But, again, tomorrow, an arsenal of content is coming at you tomorrow to do with early signing day. Fax machine's going to be up and rolling early in the morning. Those names are going to be coming in. It's an exciting day. Hopefully Tennessee closes strong. We'll be with you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk of that. But thank you guys for tuning in with us. See if I can remember my direction here. There we go. He's Dauber. I'm the Indy Kid. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good evening. We will see you tomorrow night.
The thoughts how I